What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NFL rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets and Run Pure Sports. I am here today with Tyler, the man who's been absolutely crushing the NFL, and he didn't even jump on the rundown because he said, "I'm so into the NFL, I got to just keep getting ready for this prop show and keep giving the peoples the winners because I appreciate on the NFL. I usually only dabble in the sides and the totals, but on the props, it's just tail Tyler or bust." So, Tyler, with that being said, let's talk about last night's game. I was sweating NBA so much, I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. That was a really good game. What did you think?
That was a great game. Green Bay's defense came to play. They were able to run the ball pretty effectively with Dylan. And then every time they got inside the 5 yard line, they took the big back out and brought in Aaron Jones and tried to let him pound it in. That kind of confused me because you got almost like a 250-pound back that's breaking tackles every time he's touched inside the 5 yard line. You'd think you just let him pound it in from there. And they would also run a lot of them play actions down there, almost like Seattle-esque in the Super Bowl, trying to throw the ball inside the 5. That kind of worried me, but getting all the pressure on Kyler Murray just stifled that team. And I think they're going to have problems with that offensive line the rest of the year unless they get healthy.
You have to give credit to the Green Bay Packers defense. Everyone talked about how powered that offense was. To be fair, when DeAndre Hopkins was in, they looked a lot better, right? And you see how much he really means to that team. And still, Kyler's still a young quarterback. And to have that safety blanket of the guy that always gets open, or if he's covered, you can throw it into coverage and he comes down with it,
Just
right?
like a 55-yard ball. He just threw it up there. It was like, go get it.
Yeah, for him, 50-50 balls and 80-20 with his ball skills and just his size and ability to move like a great rebounder in the NBA. So a lot of fun last night. Obviously, Arizona, the last undefeated team in the NFL, they finally lose. I don't know if they even still do it. Do you remember when the Miami Dolphins would like get together and like pop champagne every time an NFL team lost? Maybe that is happening again somewhere. I don't know if they even still do that. 72 is a long time ago. But Tyler, how do you think that changes the scope of the NFC, right? It feels like the Packers moved to be the second team maybe behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now as NFC West championship contenders.
I mean, I personally always had them ahead of Arizona, even with Arizona being undefeated. Arizona just rubbed me as that team. They caught a couple nice spots. Yeah, they beat the Rams. That was probably their like signature win this year. But outside of that, like nothing they did impress me. They seemed like that team that was just catching nice spots. They had the record to show, almost like the Steelers last year spread. They were 11-0. They played a bunch of nice spots with teams coming off COVID, guys out, and they ran up that 11-0 record. But we all knew that wasn't an undefeated team. We knew they were stoppable, and we seen it in the playoffs. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to hit a brick wall like that, but I think they're going to slow down a bit. They're not that juggernaut of a team yet.
All right, yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. So it'll be interesting to see how the NFC shakes out. And the Cardinals, to me, they seem like I wasn't going to believe it till I saw it in the cold weather. And it reminds me of an old columnist I wrote. There was a columnist for San Francisco Chronicle back in the day, Bruce Jenkins, really good columnist, and he always said, football wasn't made to be a winter sport, but that's what it's become. He said originally the idea was you played in the fall, it ended at Thanksgiving, and then when it got really cold, you headed inside to play basketball. Now I'm talking about, pre 1950 or whatever, but like when college sports were just for recreation and just getting out there and getting in shape, and I think that it's changed, and Arizona just seems like a warm weather team to me, so I'll believe it when I see it in a cold weather environment. And the reason I bring that up, right, last night's game has implications because of that, because now if they meet up, more likely that game happens in Lambeau, whereas in Arizona I would think they'd have a much better chance. So
one last thing to touch on that game, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go right
That
ahead.
last play of the game when Kyler Murray threw that pick, everyone wanted to focus on that pick. Nobody really realized he limped off the field. He's got a knee injury now.
He got cracked.
Yep. He was getting cracked all game.
Yeah. And that was weird to see AJ Green, the wide receiver.
That was my biggest worry with this team. The quarterback's as big as me spread. You can only take so many hits. The dude's
Are you that fast?
I'm not that fast. I don't think my legs move like that. But that's another thing. He won't use his legs as much as he used to.
And we were talking about that on the live show last night, and I asked Twatty that, and I said, hey, do you think that's being coached, and he said, it might be, and that was kind of where we came down on that there might be a chance that, that they're telling him not to run so much because exactly what you said. But he took that big hit, and if they go out, Chris Streveler, or it's not Streveler, it's someone else. But we
I think
don't
it's
want
Colt
to see
McCoy.
that. How did Streveler not beat out Colt McCoy? Come on, my CFL guy. Let's get in there. But anyways, it was a great game last night, and a fun Thursday night game. And as NFL fans, we love to see it. But enough of the talk. People are here for the winners, and that's where Tyler comes into play, the NFL prop expert who's having a great 2021. Let's start by talking about the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons. I'll go ahead and get the current lines. I have the stale lines in front of me, but it started at -3. What are your thoughts for this game, Tyler? Of course, we talked about it on the side and prop, but props, who are you looking at, right? Sam Darnold, interception again. We love that one.
Oh, and look at it, Fred. They jumped up the number, -150.
So now that's probably about the true number, right?
Yeah, that's probably like right around the true number.
Mm-hmm. And on the Falcons defense, I don't know if I want to play it this week.
Yeah, those corners aren't the best. Like, he would literally have to throw one right to him for them to pick that off, or a tip ball up into the air, and one of those happens. But at -150, I'd rather play one of the better quarterbacks at plus money, and hope one of their receivers tips ones up in the air.
Did you watch the Falcons defensive coordinator in the video that I sent you? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so for those who didn't see it, someone was asking him, like, are you going to try and get more pressure? And the guy just breaks the dude down. Like, do you remember when we tried to get pressure against Philadelphia? Do you remember when we tried to run a zone? Do you remember when we tried to run? And it just basically goes through. It's a pretty fun thing. I will share it on my Twitter page right now so you guys can all see it. And then you guys can give me some feedback on that and let me see what you think. I'm retweeting it right now. His name's Dan Pease. I didn't really know a lot about him. It made me like him. Just one interview clip. Tyler, you know how I can be so influenced by these interviews, right? One good interview and I'm a fan for life. So we're off the Darnold interception train. What else are we looking at for this game?
I love Calvin Ridley over 6.5 receptions in this game. He's been targeted double digits every game he's played except for one, and he got 8 targets in that game. And he's covered that number 3 of the 5 games he's played. Last game was one of the games he didn't cover, but he got 10 targets. He only caught 4 of them. I don't think Carolina's going to be able to cover him that much here in this spot. It's in the dome. He should be wide open this whole game. I think he's getting double-digit targets again. I think he scores a touchdown, and I think he catches like 7 to 8 balls. So give me that over 6.5.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get a turnaround, right? He's considered to be one of the more disappointing players this year from an individual perspective. Only a 60% catch rate there. Only 9.1 yards per reception. Remember last year was such a big play threat. And with Kyle Pitts there, you would think he could take the Jones role and go ahead and let Ridley be as effective as he was moving forward. Maybe things start to come together.
I think we see more of that now with Pitts emerging. Like, he put up his big game 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago in London. Then they had the bye week. And then last week he puts up another 100-yard game. Like, teams are going to have to start paying attention to him. That could open some spots up for Ridley.
I agree with you, because if I was a defensive coordinator, Pitts would be my number one concern. Scheming for this team, right? I mean, I almost think if I can shut him down, there's no reason to think if I have a credible NFL defense that I can't keep it close against the rest of those weapons. Any other from that game, or do you want to move on? Like, we talked about Pitts. Any interest in him, or have they moved the number appropriately?
No, not really, because he's just like, he's either going to blow that number out of the water, or he's just going to be non-existent for almost the whole games, it seems like. His number's up to 62.5. That number was 49.5 last week. So it's like giant jump up in that number because he put up another 100-yard game. I can't really get in on a 62.5 with him. And Carolina's linebackers are pretty good. Don't want to see them guys in coverage.
Let's talk about a game that we disagreed on the Tuesday show, and the market agrees with you. Did you see the line? And the Tennessee Titans is out to +3 right now. So money coming in heavy on the Colts. And as far as I'm aware, right, I mean, Julio got ruled out, but that doesn't move the line, right? No one expected him to play. There wasn't any other real major injury news that moved that line, right? That's a market move based
on the other side.
Bettors and money, right?
It's all on my side, bro. They're getting healthy.
Yeah.
Like 4 of the 5 guys that weren't supposed to play this week practiced in full yesterday.
Oh, so do you think that's what's moving it and not just money?
All their guys back there. Okay. They're supposedly going to have their last lineman back that's out. I think this is the spot where they come out and get the W.
Well, I'm glad I didn't place a bet yet, because we were on opposite sides, and we said on the Tuesday NFL rundown brought to you by Run for Your Bets, that I would wait and see. And now I'm glad not to be involved, even though, I'd have more if I decided to jump in. But hey, you got a good point. This is a team really healthy, and they were able to overcome it last week. But how many weeks are the Titans going to be able to run practice squad level secondary out there, right, with all those injuries at cornerback and still be able to get the win? So what do you think? You think Carson Wentz takes advantage of this here? Do you have some props maybe that would that lend to that idea?
I definitely think you can take advantage of it, but we know the Colts. We know their offense. Mm-hmm. They're going to want to run the ball. Mm-hmm. This Tennessee defense, if you look at their box scores, they stifled a couple running backs this year. Mm-hmm. They stopped the Chiefs from getting over 100 yards rushing. Chiefs don't really run the ball. They stopped the Jets from doing it. The Jets are the Jets. And they stopped Buffalo from doing it, who's a pass-heavy team that doesn't really run the ball. James Robinson, $150 on this defense. So it's like Jonathan Taylor with a healthy offensive line at 74.5 rushing yards. Give me the over there all day. I think he pounds the ball. In the first game they played him this season, he was out-snapped by Hines. But a lot of that came in the second half once Tennessee took a 2-score lead and they were trying to throw to get back into the game. I don't see that happening here. I think he's going to run the ball at least 16 times. Give me that over 74. I think he's touching 100 again.
So how long does this last that we get to make fun of JJ for these Jonathan Taylor takes? Is that joke played out, or can I throw it in again?
I mean, you can go for it.
JJ hates to see it, that prop on the sheet, and we're going to love to see it when it cashes because I'm betting that with you. Jonathan Taylor, let me throw it in the chat, over 74.5 yards, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that, especially against this defense. Now, do you have any other ones? Do you expect this game to go over? I'm seeing the total is at 51. Do you run it back on the other side with maybe a Titans prop? I know Derrick Henry's probably priced appropriately. I don't know if there's any more value there. Is there other players you're looking at?
The other thing I'd be looking at is like anytime touchdowns in this game. Mm-hmm. I don't hate Mo Alley Cox at plus 250. When they're in the red zone, he looks for that tight end.
Right.
And I mean, I think they're going to be in the red zone a lot this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't hate McCole Pruitt at plus 380 on the Tennessee side. They're tight end. Mm. I mean, they run these little trick plays where he comes off the line as a blocker and just goes out into space and stands there. Plus 380, that could be a nice hit.
What was Cox's number again?
Plus 250.
Yeah, I mean, that shows that they're already onto that. Because I'll bet you at the beginning of the year that would have been like plus 800.
Let me see what he is at FanDuel, because sometimes these touchdown scores are just all over the place.
Yeah, I noticed on the prop market, it's pretty wild compared to when I give out an NBA play, right? Most of the times the number's pretty much available.
Yeah, he's plus 320 on FanDuel.
All right, let me add that. Go to FanDuel.
Oh, spread. McCole Pruitt plus 950 on FanDuel. Like, they're just giving us the best of the best over here.
Okay, so I'll just write FanDuel in the chat.
Yes, go. So throw those odds out the window. Go to FanDuel with those two anytime touchdowns.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Here, I'll throw this on the bottom. FanDuel. That's where you guys need to go to find these props. So great job, Tyler, finding the winners in that game, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe my early lean ends up being right, but the way that my NFL season's going, I think that you and everyone else I talk to and the market are correct on that game. But crazier things have happened in the National Football League. The Miami Dolphins play the Buffalo Bills. Remember, Tyler, I talked about this one on Tuesday, and that was one of the ones that you decided I should actually bet. You were right. I bet it at 13.5. It's now at 14. The total is 49. We expect the Dolphins to get stomped. Is there any way we can attack the props based off our game script?
Let me see what we can get like a Tua interception at right now. Because I wouldn't hate playing that. He's played very well since he's come back from injury, but this Buffalo defense stifles teams.
Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason...
Listen to this one, spread. This one's going to baffle you. Because remember the Sam Darnold odds.
Yeah.
Tua over half an interception, minus 190.
Unbelievable.
Higher than Sam Darnold. That makes no sense to me.
I guess the idea is that they're more likely to be down.
Yeah, the Buffalo defense, yeah.
And I think it's the Buffalo offense. Just once Buffalo puts up 30, he's going to be throwing every down, right? Where I think Carolina has a much better chance of staying close and maybe, getting a lead and trying to run the ball and not putting Darnold in those terrible situations, right? Because if you are aware of it and I'm aware of it, we know that Matt Rule and Joe Brady are aware of it as well. So maybe that's why. But there's no way you can bet that. In fact, can you take a punt the other way? Is it coming back plus 150 for him to not throw an interception? I mean, we could cash that if he gets knocked out in the second quarter, right?
Here, let me see what the under is. Yeah, plus 135 on the under. So,
Oh, that's a terrible spread. Minus 190 to plus 135.
yeah, that's just
Oh, come on, guys.
can't do much with that.
That's not right. Come on, guys. The implied probabilities are so ridiculous there. Okay, what else do we got?
Looking at it, Dawson Knox is out. That was pretty much
That was
Josh
our
Allen's
guy.
safety blanket this
Yeah.
year. He seems to love Cole Beasley this year, too. So that 51.5 seems a bit short. That's under Sanders' number and, of course, under Stephon Diggs' number. But I just think he catches like 6 to 7 balls here across the middle. He breaks one for like 25 yards. That 51.5 is going to go over.
And that's
So give me
Stephon
that.
Diggs?
No, that's Cole Beasley.
Oh, Beasley. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to run a lot of routes out of that slot spot. So I think he's going to be more of the safety blanket for Allen on Sunday.
All right. Now, talk to me about on the Miami side, Jaylen Waddle. I mean, he hasn't got many targets lately. We always go overs. I mean, I was looking at that candidate for an under there, or am I getting a little too greedy?
My only worry there is like playing an under on him in a game that they're likely going to be down.
Good
He
point.
could just get pelted with the ball late, and then you just get screwed in garbage time when the game's over. And he's just catching balls that have no effect on the outcome of the game.
Well, if we think they're getting blown out, should I pivot then and try a Myles Gaskin under?
I don't hate that because I don't think this Buffalo team's going to give up many yards on the ground. I think the only way you get yards is through the air. I wouldn't
Do you
hate
have a
playing
number
this.
for that right now?
His rushing yards are 37.5. I wouldn't hate playing it under there.
That's
It's
pretty
low
low,
spread,
though.
but he don't
It
run
seems
the
like they've
ball.
adjusted for it already, right?
Yeah.
I thought it would be in the 40s. And I don't
Plus-
think people are going to pound that over between now and the time they kick off, right? Like some of these, when we give out the overs, like that Jonathan Taylor, bet
That's gonna
that
be in the
right
80s.
now. Like, bet that this second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to close at like 83.
The best way to put that spread, like I use FanDuel and DraftKings for most of my
Yeah.
bets. FanDuel's hanging to 74.5. DraftKings is hanging to 78.5. Bet that now before it's 83.5 come Sunday.
You know which one that you guys have that I think is just a cool name? Sugar House. Like, that's just a cool name.
Yeah,
like,
the
I want to go to
Sugar House Casino.
Right. It sounds like a lot of fun, right? Well, probably gain some weight, but hey, let's head over to the Sugar House. Before we go on, one other one, and this will be my lone Dolphins over, because this guy just seems to be both quarterbacks' best friends, no matter who's playing. Mike Gesicki getting a ton of targets there. Tyler, any interest in him?
I don't hate that. My only worry is playing some of these guys to get yardage against this Bills defense. Because at first I was hesitant to say they were legit. Now they're pretty much legit. Like there's no questioning about that. And just this Miami Dolphins, they've been stifled before, especially by this Buffalo defense. They shut them out at the beginning of the year, even though Tua was knocked out on the first series. And I would just hate to see them key on him and force the ball into spots they don't want. And then it's just pick city from there.
Yeah, that's true. Minus 190 to throw a pick. That's just unbelievable. Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Jets. Did I bet this one early? I hope I did because the line moved. It's down to 11 now. Did I get in on that? Let me put that up. But while I try and find out whether or not I already played that bet, because of course this is another one that we think there's huge blowout potential. Hey, Tyler, Bengals are pretty good. I'm not talking smack about them anymore. I'm not betting against them anymore. And in fact, this week I will bet on them. Tyler, where's some winning props for this game?
I mean, looking at it, somehow, some way, we're still getting Jamar Chase at plus money to score a touchdown. We know he's Burrow's favorite target. Now he's in a great matchup against his Jets team. I think he scores a touchdown at plus 110. I'll take that. I wish they would hang Burrow's passing touchdowns at plus 2.5. So we could get plus money on it. The over 1.5 is minus 240. I think he throws 3 touchdowns here. So I'm waiting for that 2.5 to open up.
Okay.
And let me see what they have Chase's yard set at, because if it's anything lower than 80, I think he goes over it.
What's the Chase anytime touchdown number for the chat?
Plus 110. Yeah, Jamar Chase, 76.5 receiving yards. It's like, unless they're blanketing him with everyone on that Jets defense, he's getting 80 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't believe how he pump faked us in preseason. But that's over now. We put it behind us, and we're going to go ahead.
I want to bring back one question that everyone riddled the Bengals with when they made that draft pick. If you can go back right now after what you've seen, you drafting slow over this kid?
No.
Exactly. Yeah, I think they made the right decision.
They did, because if he was just like a very good receiver, then you could argue, right? Because Burrow's still getting beat up, he's making plays with not very much time. But I mean, this guy looks like he's gonna be truly elite. Right?
I can't believe like a lot of us didn't see this coming either, spread, because we were all in love with Justin Jefferson, calling him like the next big thing.
Yeah, we loved him.
Just completely overlooked the fact that this kid had like 30 less receptions at LSU and like 800 more yards and like 12 more touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes were made. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. So we like that, and we like the Burrow when that one comes out. We're not running it back on the Jets, are we?
No, nothing on that side with Mike White under center. I would say play his interceptions, but they already listed it at 1.5.
So someone in one of my chats was like, Mike White isn't even the first person that comes up when you Google him, like the quarterback. It's like the third person under Google for the name great. Mike White. So you got a guy, type in Joe Burrow and see who's the top response, right? Your Pittsburgh Steelers head to Cleveland to take on the Browns. They are now out to 4. I tried to get Twatty to give me a take on this game. He was non-committal last night. Do you want to go ahead and jump in and let us know whether or not your Pittsburgh Steelers get it done against your favorite quarterback who's probably not playing?
He is playing, spread, and I think they get it done.
Baker's back in?
He is playing, yeah. I don't think he should be playing.
I don't think he should either. That's why I just assumed he wouldn't play.
Yeah,
that's what I get for assuming.
I picked up on that when you and Twatty were talking about the game last night. He was key to say, like, if Baker plays, probably Pittsburgh's game here. If Case Keenum plays, they probably beat us because he's more healthy. He can move around a bit better. TJ Watt's going to be all over him. Like, I don't know how to cap this game because it's just going to be a dogfight. Like, the defenses are going to be all over each other. I don't see the offenses putting up much. Maybe some unders. I don't hate Nick Chubb's at 87.5 rushing yards coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, against this defense, he could go over that with a couple big busted runs, but probably lean under there because I just think it's going to be so low scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see Ebron is out on the Pittsburgh side, which leaves Fairmouth as their only.
He still plays?
Yeah, he ran a touchdown in against Seattle, spread.
Does that guy lead the NFL in dropped passes?
I think he does now.
I mean, I've seen him drop so many passes, I can't believe he's still in the league.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hate playing a Pat Fairmouth touchdown. He's going to be the only tight end for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see them getting in the red zone, and they can't get the receivers open, and he's open. So,
well, check FanDuel for that number because that's where we're getting it.
I'm interested to see what FanDuel's at, too, because I see DraftKings is plus 400. We might get like a plus 1,000 on this.
This is how you get customers, FanDuel. Great job. Right? Because if you're just sitting there with only DraftKings after watching this show, how are you not making a deposit in FanDuel if you're living in Pennsylvania or anywhere where you have that option?
Let's see.
So while you pull that up, Tyler, I'm going to shoot
Actually, the plus 400 is the better number. He's plus 340 on FanDuel.
Oh, okay. Well,
that just shows you how much this differs.
Yeah, that's why props are so crazy. And, we always say shop around. And we're talking about just trying to get an extra half point or a point, in the NBA or the NFL. But look at the difference in these numbers. So DK or FanDuel. And you know what, guys? I haven't been doing it this week. Next week, I will remember to put a DK or an FD into the chat so you guys know where to find them. So I apologize for that. I thought that we'd be going through FanDuel the whole rest of the way. So you ready for my conspiracy theory on this game, Tyler? And then we'll move on.
Let me hear it.
Cleveland knows that they can't pay Baker Mayfield, right? Because then the reason that team's good is because everything around him is so good, right? If he's eating up their salary cap, they're not going to be able to keep that line, right? They get him knocked out, and now they don't have to pay him.
Aren't you in like a very tough place, though, when like you're the team that has the jersey with 40 names on the back of quarterbacks in like the last 20 years? You finally get the guy that like holds the spot down for multiple years.
But this is how the conspiracy comes in. Baker gets knocked out. Keenum comes in. They keep winning, right? Now I can tell the fans, we can win with anybody. We just won with Case Keenum, right?
They'll be the Vikings from when Keenum was there. They'll just have like everything good around them. They'll get so far, and then they'll get blasted by the actual elite team in the conference.
All right, enough of silly conspiracy theories. Let's move on. The Philadelphia Eagles. I apologize for that, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles are headed to Detroit to take on the Lions in a game that nobody wants to bet or watch. What are we doing here? Actually, let me go up to a question I had in the chat This is from our guy Sign Collectibles. Big tennis fan. Always love when he's in the chat. Goff more passing yards than Hurts. -135. Happened 5 of 7 weeks this season. Why don't you answer that question and let's give us a quick breakdown of the props that you might be looking at for this game.
I don't hate that one at all. I mean, everyone knows where I stand on Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I don't think he's all that good. Mm-hmm. I think if Miami doesn't get this Watson deal done soon, he's going to be an Eagle next year because of all the first-round picks they have. Mm-hmm. So I definitely like Goff to outthrow him in this game. But the spots I've keyed on in this game, we said it last week's spread. We didn't get to target it because he didn't play. It was Waller's game last week against his Eagles team. Mm-hmm. And we watched Foster Monroe catch a touchdown in like 50 yards, who's a second stringer. Mm-hmm. Now we're getting TJ Hawkinson in the building. Inside a dome, he's scoring a touchdown. That 53.5 is going over. So I think it's a big game for TJ Hawkinson this week.
All right. Maybe if
you said nobody wants to bet this game, Lions win outright spread +160. They're getting the win this week.
Oh, yeah. They were part of our 3 teams that we were taking the money line, huh? I haven't made those bets yet because when we're taking money line dogs, very rarely, you get the one public dog, but usually I just wait, and watch that number tick up so I can get a little better on the return. So he likes 2 plays there. Hawkinson, anytime TD, and also over 53.5 yards receiving. Do you have any more for that game, or did you want to move on?
No, that's just it for that game.
Yeah, we're going to be quick here. We got a little bigger schedule here, but we love it. We love talking about the NFL. Who is next on the agenda? We have, hold on, here we go. Yeah, another game.
This is the game nobody wants to bet, spread.
Are you talking about the Rams-Texans?
You got the Rams-Texans first. I thought we were going San Fran, Chicago. We do Rams-Texans first, though.
All right, we'll do that one. The line, I don't know, anywhere from 14 to 16. I don't know. Let me see where it exactly is right now. Out to 16 after it opened 14.5. Nobody wants to bet the Texans. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ill-prepared. Tyrod Taylor, will he be playing today? Or this weekend?
Mills is still starting. I think you just pencil in Mills for the rest of the year.
That's too bad because I wanted to start taking the Texans as these big double-digit dogs once he came back.
You know what would be the biggest curveball spread?
What?
Goodell came out and addressed the Watson thing and said he's basically not getting put on the exempt list.
Start him.
Sunday rolls around, and what if he's active? That'd be hilarious.
That would be awesome. And you're sitting with a +16 in your pocket, and the line moves to like -5 or something. How much do you think the line would move if he was announced in?
Yeah, I think it drops to 10.
It's got. You think
I don't think it goes
10?
It's so bad around them spread, and it to be his first game back in. I don't think you can go any lower than 10.
Good point. I would still take it at 10. I would be all over it, and maybe I'd lose. Did you see the trade? Who got traded? Mark Ingram, and then Brandon Cooks tweeted out like, "This is some BS." How do you think that affects the team, or am I just, as West Coast Jim likes to say, am I just addicted to the drama?
I mean, I think it's some of the NBA drama kicking in there over there, but
yeah,
I see where you're coming from. Like, players are upset. Locker room's probably got like a sour taste in its mouth now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's Houston. Like, they weren't winning a Super Bowl this year. Like, he was just a rental. He was only there. One of these contenders was going to pick him up anyway. It just so happened it was the team that he formerly played for.
Right.
So it is what it is. I'm pretty sure he'd rather be in New Orleans than Houston.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, I mean, looking at this game, you can't really bet the -17. They should beat them. Mm-hmm. But I see Desean Jackson also requested a trade. I don't hate a Van Jefferson anytime touchdown +150 here because we know how fragile Desean Jackson is. You can't showcase him out on the field to get more trade value because he's probably going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So I think you see more like the Cup, Woods, Jefferson trio. And I think they get Jefferson more involved this week. So definitely like him anytime touchdown.
All right, I put that one in the chat. So we saw earlier Marlon Mac requested a trade and nobody wanted to trade for him. Do you think there's going to be a market for Desean Jackson? I was trying to go through my head, like who would actually like want him? Like maybe the Patriots, but I don't know if they would even.
Imagine Tampa makes him their 4th receiver behind the big 3. And now you got 3 guys that need double teamed and 1 guy that's running like 25 miles an hour past you down the sideline.
Yeah, I guess we can't count them out too. That'd be pretty crazy. Any other props you're looking at besides Van Jefferson anytime TD?
The only one I look at is probably Stafford's touchdowns again at +2 or over 2.5 even money.
Okay.
And Cooper Kupp's going to be wide open this game, too. You can't play his receiving yards at 95.5. I just think that's way too high. Said that last week. He went for a $150.
Yeah.
I just personally can't play that number that high.
No, I agree with you.
They get up multiple scores before he gets to that 95. You're kind of screwed.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I would agree too. There might be a big rushing game in that if they do get out, because I do think that Houston will struggle to score against this Los Angeles Rams defense. Let's talk about
I have one touchdown score in this game I want to touch on.
Okay, yeah, give it to me.
Defenses haven't scored this much this season. But Davis Mills loves to turn this ball over. We watched him do it against Buffalo how many times, and he only threw for 80 yards.
I'm glad you watched it because I had changed it pretty early.
Now we're going to have Aaron Donald all over him and Jalen Ramsey waiting to pick one off and all the other guys in the secondary. Plus 310 for that defense to punch one in. Give me that all day. Somebody's strip sacking this dude or somebody's pick sixing him on a bad pass.
All right. I will put that in the chat right now, and I agree with your look there. I think that's a good angle for sure. Let's talk about the other game that nobody wants to bet. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Chicago Bears. What's this current line here? Niners are out to 4. It opened at 3.5. Not a lot of movement. I'm not surprised that people don't want to get involved with this. Very low total here, Tyler. 39.5. What are the props for this game that you're targeting?
I mean, this is an ugly one. Like, San Fran looks like they're in shambles. They just lost Kinlaw for the season on the defensive line. That's pretty big. Jimmy G's still not 100%. They're kind of just doing the bounce in, bounce out at the running back spot, whoever's the hot hand. And Chicago's another team. They just seem like they don't have an identity. Nagy needs fired. Fields looks like shit. Pretty much a stay away game for me. But again, they said Debo's yards under 70. He is still the only receiver on this team that gets multiple targets. George Kittle's not there. Ayuk is invisible. The other tight end that backs up Kittle's not that good, so give me Debo to go over that yards again.
Tyler, since he was already at 34% target share, he's at 36.5% now target share since George Kittle's been absent. I really agree with your play there. Let me write down again. What was the number? The exact one, Debo over what?
Debo is over, here, hold on, my page reset me to the top. It's over 69.5 yards.
All right. And Damon Santor is apologizing for beating me down in fantasy. Thank you, Damon. You do not get a taunting penalty. The NFL approves of the way you celebrated that. Who was the other one I was looking at in this game? Oh, I wanted to talk to you about Khalil Herbert. I think he's interesting. 23 snaps last week to only 4 for Damian Williams, or that might have been touches, excuse me. He played 77% of the snaps and had 23 touches compared to Damian Williams at 4. Khalil Herbert, is there any interest there?
I mean, I don't hate it. My only worry is this San Fran's defense has been stingy. Kinlaw out could open up some spots for him to run through. Again, the Chicago offense just has like no motor to it. If they score points, it's usually like they're getting down the field on pass interference plays, little dump offs. So if I'm going to play anything for him, it's an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, they have the weapons. Just the plan isn't there. I like Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson both as receivers. That offensive line is so bad, though, and that's the engine that makes any offense go. Let's talk about the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers open at 5.5. This is it went down to 4. Now it's back to 4.5, where I think it's pretty much going to settle. That seems like a nice, good number to me. 4.5 there for the Chargers. What are your ideas for this game, Tyler?
I mean, looking at this one, I see Eckler's probably not going to play, and if he does, he's going to be hindered. I just think the Chargers off the bye week, I think they smash this New England team. I mean, I know everyone's going to say it's Bill Belichick, this and that. Like, they're going to have a ton of fans in the Charger Stadium. I still think the Chargers are one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. Throw out the beatdown Baltimore gave them. They do that to all them quarterbacks they see for the first time. They just blitz the hell out of them. They throw him a curveball, and the quarterbacks haven't seen that much. Now, if he does what Burrow did to him last week, after his first meeting with Baltimore the year before, when they did that to him and they beat him 27-3, he made him pay for the blitz last week. So Herbert does that next time, we won't see that again. But I just don't think New England has the same pressure that Baltimore has. I think these receivers are going to be wide open. So give me Keenan Allen to score a touchdown. Give me Mike Williams overs.
I was going to ask you about Williams. So in that last game, he had some pretty bad drops. That doesn't concern you?
Not really. I mean, he was kind of banged up before that. Now he gets the extra week off. He should be coming in almost 100%.
Okay.
71 and a half. Give me the over there.
What's the anytime touchdown number on Allen?
Plus 130.
Okay. And then we're going Mike Williams over 71 and a half.
Yep.
All right. I'm with you there. I like the Chargers side in that game. And I do believe that you're on the right side there. Only ran 15 routes last week. There we go. Let us move on to the. You don't have any more in that game, did you?
One I wanted to check real quick. My page froze on me. Was Mac Jones interceptions?
Oh, interesting.
He's thrown a lot of he hasn't thrown a lot of picks, but he's thrown a lot of balls into places that should have been picked, where the D-back tips it and drops it.
Right.
Or it hits the D-back in the chest and he doesn't realize it's coming right to him at first, and then he drops it.
Yeah.
This Chargers defense, Derwin James is going to be all over the place. I think he definitely throws one in this game.
Yeah, I think there are going to be some tight windows as the Patriots receivers struggle to get separation.
Minus 165 spread.
We can't play that.
I mean, they're just killing us on these interception props.
I guess just like we, study our leaks, right? And we try to plug the leaks so we're not giving away money. They're doing the same exact thing by not letting us attack those easy interception props that we were profiting with so easily earlier in the year. Jacksonville Jaguars head to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, who will be led by Geno Smith once again. And because of that, this number is Seahawks minus 3.5. I imagine with Russell in there, it'd be 8 to 8.5 there. The Jaguars, we talked about coming off a bye. The Jaguars are off a bye as well. I think the Trevor Lawrence has gotten better every week, and maybe Urban Meyer is not getting some credit for that. James Robinson, you talked about having the huge game. Maybe some interesting ideas in this game. What do you think, Tyler?
First idea I think in this game spread is Jacksonville picks up the win here. I know it's a tough pace to play in Seattle, but I just don't see how this defense stops them. Yeah, Jacksonville might be one of the worst teams, but Lawrence is still a really good quarterback. And I think he's going to get these guys open and put up some points here. And same with Robinson. He should be able to run on this defense pretty well. Passing touchdowns for Lawrence is plus 115 over 1.5. I don't hate that. But he's got a knack of running them in the red zone. When everyone thinks it's going to be Robinson, he'll keep it and run it in from 5 yards out. At plus 300, I think that's definitely worth a shot. He runs one in.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. And in fact, that's something that they need to do. And I'd heard talk about that Urban Meyer needed to really do more like they did at Clemson, roll him out, get him on the move. And then the idea there is if all the coverage is there and his guys can't get open, he can still get a gain. Whereas in the pocket, he was kind of forced to take the sack. So good to see that they are making some of that. And you said he's at plus 300 for that anytime touchdown?
Yep.
Yeah, Damon believes that he's going to be pretty big on FanDuel this week. I'm usually only on DraftKings, but that's something to note. So thank you, Damon. Now, are you trying to correlate any of these with a Marvin Jones or a Chenault, or is there any way we can get involved? A Dan Arnold maybe, or is that just the only one we got here?
The only one I'd look at would probably be Chenault at 50.5. Marvin Jones is pretty much that deep ball on the sideline. He catches it. He's going to go over his number of 53.5. But Chenault's probably the guy that's going to get the most targets here out of these guys. He's going to be coming across the middle. He could bust one right up the center of the field for 30 yards. So give me that over 50.5. I think he goes over that.
All right. Now, I know that we're not expecting a lot from Seattle. Is there any unders, or is there maybe a player that you think is going to get like an abnormal target share?
I mean, the only thing I would play is probably the DK touchdown at plus 130. I mean, he's still the best receiver they got. The number's discounted because Geno's playing quarterback, but we know DK can still get open, and all Geno's got to do is put it in somewhere in that area, and he'll go and get it.
All right, I like that as well. So, yeah, that's a good way to attack that game that I don't know how many people will be watching. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head to New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Buccaneers -5 on the road. Has that moved? No, down to 4.5. Looks like the Saints took a little money as a home dog. How are you approaching this game, Tyler?
I think personally this game, everyone's going to pencil it as Jameis Winston's revenge game. It's going to be his pick city game because I just see this being like last week, like when they played Chicago. They're going to rush him. They're going to put him in spots where he doesn't want to throw the ball as much. And we know what happens when you fluster a guy like Winston. He just starts throwing the ball up. If his interception prop isn't like -200, Yeah, it's minus 185. So can't play that. But the moment he throws one in this game, bet the live over 1.5 at plus money. He's going to throw two in this game.
Got it. That's a good way to approach it. All right. Is there any other pregame looks that we can get on? I know Kamara was pretty involved in their game plan last week.
I was looking at him. His receiving yards are up to 45.5. I really don't want to play his rushing yards because Tampa Bay's rush defense is the best in the league. They just don't give up rushing yards. And I think they're just going to key on him and make Winston beat them with these other weapons. So if I'm going to play anything, it'd probably be Kamara's rushing plus receiving yards under 112.5. After that giant workload, I think they're going to, the Tampa Bay is going to be like, beat us with somebody else. Like, you're not beating us with him.
Yeah.
And plus, Mark Ingram's back in the house. Like, he's going to get some rushes. He knows the system. This isn't a brand new guy that has to wait like a week.
How do you think the grudge match between Lattimore and Evans, two guys that are pretty vocal about their disdain for each other, how do you think that turns out? Does Evans get the best of him, or do you look for Evans unders here?
I don't look for Evans. The only reason I would look for Evans unders is because if he's going to stay healthy and stay out on the field, he's probably going to go over that 66.5. And you have Godwin on the other side, so Lattimore might have to bounce around depending on which guy is running wide open. So That's my only worry there.
All right. Yeah, well, that should be a fun matchup. Jawan Johnson's a guy that we've liked. Any more interest in him, or have they gone away from him?
I mean, they still do use him. They tried to hit him on a tight end screen to end that game against Seattle on Monday night, and then Winston took the sack. This is another spot, though. I know everyone's like Tampa Bay's defense isn't that good. The secondary's not that good. I'm still not playing any props against their defense.
Just a general question. Do you think Winston returns next year?
I think he does, but I'm not sure he's the starter.
Interesting. Yeah. What a golden opportunity for him to finally prove himself. He hasn't been bad, but he definitely, hasn't been as good as we maybe would have hoped or expected. The Washington football team heads to Denver to take on the Broncos. We touched on this game a tad during the live show last night, and I know people were on opposite sides. I think Keg liked the football team, and Holden liked his hometown Broncos. What do you think about getting involved in this game? Is there some props that you are looking at?
Looking at this one, this is another game. I just think it could go either way.
I agree. I think
it's tough to get involved. Washington secondary is going to leave Cortland Sutton and these guys wide open. Jerry Jeudy might be back for Denver. I think that could be big. And on the Washington side, I mean, they're going to put Patrick Surtain on Terry McLaurin, and he's been by far the best rookie cornerback. That worries me. That 65.5 does seem a bit short because the dude just gets pelted with the ball. So I really don't hate that. And the other one I was looking at was Javonte Williams over 2.5 receptions.
Okay.
He's the running back that just catches the dump offs. He had 3 catches by halftime on last game. And this 2.5 minus 120. I don't hate that at all.
All right. I like that one there. So Williams over 2.5 receptions. Let me throw that one in the chat. Anyone on the Washington side?
Just Terry McLaurin on that 65.5. And I just think he gets there pretty much on volume alone because Heineke's going to throw him the ball so much.
Yeah, I agree. I think it might be a little artificially lower because he has been dealing with that hamstring injury. Let's go on to Sunday night, and then we'll be out of here. The Dallas Cowboys head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Tyler, thank you for talking me off that. Was that Monday or Tuesday that we talked about? Because I wanted the Cowboys.
Fred. This was my upset of the week.
It's not an upset anymore.
I was about to say, now we're probably going to have Cooper Rush in there. And we didn't want that.
Wait, Cooper Rush? That's his plan?
This is what I read yesterday.
Okay.
Dak's practicing. He's limited. So is Trayvon Diggs, and so is Tyrone Smith. Mike McCarthy came out and said Cooper Rush is taking the first-string reps with the starters in practice. And if Dak plays, he said he will be dressing 3 quarterbacks. You know what that tells me? He's getting hurt during the game like Anthony Davis did. Remember, spread? Dress the guy. He's half hurt. He's going to go out there, play a little bit. There he goes to the locker room.
But nobody's questioning Dak's toughness, right? I mean, on the AD thing,
not at all,
it's a little different.
But a calf strain with a quarterback that has to move here and there, one wrong step and he's limping around now. And it's like, yeah, time to go to the locker room. They could also play it conservative with them having such a good season. Probably don't want to get your guy hurt when you have Super Bowl aspirations.
No, I agree.
So I think the Vikings win it. I thought the Vikings wanted a plus money. So at -3, I don't want to play it because I could have had +3, but I still think they win the game outright.
All right. If you have a Vikings win on your game script, does that mean you're looking at Dalvin Cook, or do they put his number too high?
84.5. Give me that over all day.
All
I mean,
right.
Dallas' defense
See, we've
has
been doing this a
pretty
while.
good.
I know where you're going.
He's getting healthier. I think this is that game where he explodes back onto the scene. 100+ yards, maybe multiple touchdowns. If Diggs plays, him and Jefferson are just going to go at it on the outside. So give me Cook in this spot. One other reason, spread, I'm worried about Minnesota. This is the only reason why I'm worried. This game's at 8:30 at night. This is a primetime game. We know Kirk Cousins goes into a shell in primetime games.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That could be an issue there. So we will see how that turns out. Out of all these that we gave out today, Tyler, what would you say is your favorite?
My favorite would probably be. I have to pin me down to one. Let me see.
All right. While you do that, I'll tell you my favorite out of all the ones that you gave out. I like this Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. So I'll go ahead and fade that Jets defense, and just Joe Burrow's going to keep going to his favorite target.
It'd either be that one for
favorite
me,
is Chase.
or the Jonathan Taylor over 74.5 rushing yards, or the Hawkinson anytime touchdown, because I just think Philly's linebackers are so bad.
All right, so there you have it. The props for every game brought to you by Tyler, who has been absolutely crushing the NFL props this year. If you're not already, I don't know why you would not be a member of RunPureBets.com. You could get access to all of Tyler's plays. Tyler, off the top of your head, do you remember what your NFL props are? I thought you had mentioned it to AP earlier.
I was 35-20 coming into this week. I dropped those 3 on Thursday night. So we dropped 2 units on the 2 half units, and then the Rondell Moore longest reception. So it puts us at what, like 35-23, right around
35 and 23, right? So if you guys want access to all of Tyler's plays, all of the Sports Kegs plays, all of Joey Works plays, all of JJ's plays, all of Score With These plays, and all of my plays, make sure you head on over to runpurebets.com, become a member, use the promo code BETS25 off to get 25% off your first month. You will not regret it. The best bang for your buck when it comes to sports gambling information. You'll get access to the plays, the private live shows that are members only, and of course the members only Discord where we discuss plays, reasoning for our plays, and sometimes there might be something that happens between now and Sunday. Tyler's going to get in there. Hey, this guy got ruled out. This guy got ruled in. Now we're attacking this prop. As a member, you're going to get access to that right away as he sends everybody the message. So thank you for hanging out. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, you know what I always forget to ask? Share it with your friends so we can go ahead and continue to grow the movement that we have going on at Run Pure Bets. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Run Pure.